Howdy, fellow movie fans of the internet, and welcome back for another edition of the Wisco Movie Watchers podcast. As always, for your hosts, Evan and Dylan Davies. 40th anniversary to talk about here.
Yeah. Kind of weird that it's 40. It feels both super accurate and also like very oddly um
New.
yeah, like still modern in a way.
I think that's why we're talking about this movie.
I think that's why people still watch it.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like this movie.
We
There's
should
parts
say
of it.
we're talking Labyrinth today on today's
Oh,
episode.
yes. Yes. Um I've seen this now twice. I didn't like it the first time and I don't like it the second time, but I respect a lot of it.
I will say my last note, I don't know if you'll be able to read it, is
Yeah, yeah,
I,
that's a good way of
I have
saying it.
no idea what I watched, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think that's how most people feel about it.
So let's talk Labyrinth. Its 40th anniversary is upon us. It is currently being shown in theaters, at least in some theaters, as an event film.
Yeah, I saw it was showing in Marcus.
I was going to go see it, and then unfortunately I was trapped in Caribbean prison
Ah,
because
yes, yes.
we decided to illegally invade another country, and by we I mean the orange dictator currently in the White House. So, and if people don't want to hear our politics about it, I don't really fucking care. Go fuck yourself.
I was part of the invasion. I went down there for a couple days, did my work, and left.
It kind of
But
feels like
what
what this
was it?
movie is at times.
Was it Venezuela?
Yeah,
I couldn't even tell you where that is. Latin America. That's all I can say.
it's South America, dude.
Oh, it is. I thought it was
Yes.
Latin. Well, there you go. That's how little I know about it.
Well, I also we should be saying we're streaming this again for those who are just listening. And already, first comment to this episode, LMAO. I thought I saw Dylan in that footage that day.
Yeah, yeah, I was there.
Are you sure
I
you
mean,
are you sure you want to admit to that?
the ginger really sticks out.
Yeah, I would say that as someone who wouldn't who'd look pretty conspicuous. It's kind of like when Bond go like. Do you remember in Spectre when he starts in Mexico? And it's really smart that they put him in a mask because
Mhm.
blonde-haired, blue-eyed, fucking Daniel Craig would
Yeah,
stick out like a sore thumb during a
yeah,
Day of the Dead fucking festival in Latin
yeah.
America.
I only know of one South American person who has red hair, and it's a football player who's from Argentina, but his last name is McAllister. It's very odd. I don't understand it. I've never looked into his heritage, but I'm like, that's a very weird mix.
Interesting. But let's get into Labyrinth here. Let's start right away. I can tell you, I don't want to say it at the end because I always say it at the end. This is a vibes movie. That's why this movie is seen 1,000 times over. It's a vibes
Yeah,
movie. You either vibe with this movie or you don't.
yeah.
And it sounds like over time you've come to vibe with it, at least a little bit.
I don't. I more respect it than like it.
That's a great way of saying that too.
I feel that way about most of the Jim Henson projects. Like a lot of the fantasy movies of the late '80s, where you get like Willow, Dark Crystal, all that. I don't really like those movies that much, but I really respect a lot of the choices they make.
Respect the choices, respect the craft, respect a lot
And
of
I
the
mean,
build.
it is a huge risk making a movie like this,
Oh, it's
where
enormous.
half your characters are puppets,
Well,
probably more than half.
the vast majority of their characters. Well,
Yeah,
there's a human baby, Jennifer Connelly,
David
and
Bowie.
and David Bowie, and then you have bit parts with the mom and the dad,
Yeah,
and then the rest
yeah,
are
that's
all
true.
puppetry.
Yep.
Wow, like it's a risk. And
I do have a question right away, actually,
sure,
because I thought of it while I was watching. Would this still be considered a classic if it wasn't David Bowie?
I thought about that a lot. during this because what was hilarious is Ab watched the like I don't know the last like 30% of this movie with me last night. I was very regimented last night where I was like, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna do this task. I'm watching Labyrinth, and whenever she decides to join me, she's gonna join me. And Ab even brought up, she's like, he doesn't even sing that well. And I was like, I don't think people listen to Bowie
Yeah.
because his voice is amazing. I think
No.
Bowie is a persona. Bowie is personalities. Bowie is vibes. You either vibe with Bowie or you don't, right?
Yeah, he's definitely not the strongest vocalist. He's
Uh,
not Freddie Mercury.
yeah, and like the thing is this, like I don't want to compare talent wise either, but I could see the closest approximation I can think of in a modern context, and it's not necessarily a one for one on talent, but I feel like Harry Styles has a bit of this.
He's definitely going for it. Yeah.
Where Harry Styles, like I really actually enjoy Harry Styles' work as a musician, and I think he can act in some things. I don't think he's as good in a lot of stuff, but I think he works well within structure, and I think it is. I think there's a lot of worlds that he's tailor made to play in now, because the
Yeah.
I think he was a perfect casting for Marvel, and then they're never that character's never gonna be seen again. But because the Eternals is
He's in a oh, he's in Eternals.
because remember
Okay.
he's in the end credit scene where
I've seen that movie once and it left my mind 10 seconds after it
I
was
think that
done.
happened to a lot of people. The thing is this is it Eternals is not great. I enjoy Eternals, but I just really love the comic book property of it. And but that was part of the reason I got so upset when I first watched it. I was like,
Mm.
"You broke the one fucking rule. You never do this. The only fucking thing you do with this property, you broke the one goddamn rule you shouldn't have done." Like,
Yeah.
but
Oh, calling back to our make a movie with your birthday.
yeah,
Harry Styles, born February 1st,
hey,
1994.
hey, there you go.
Same day.
You are literally the same age every day of your
Yes.
life as Harry
Yep.
Styles, which is hilarious to think of. But Harry Styles gets placed as Eros, which is a very, very low level character in the Marvel pantheon, but a character that really works well vibes wise for a Harry Styles. And I think that like if people wanted to understand Bowie, especially in movies, and of like who Bowie was at the time, Harry Styles would be a great parable for it.
Sure.
And that's why I've been talking about him as much as I have. But Bowie's not even that good of a singer, especially in Labyrinth,
I was gonna say, I don't think any of the songs are kind of set up for him to shine.
which is hilarious because he wrote all of them.
That's how I feel about a lot of his music, though, where I'm just like, this is much more about vibes than it is about like making a very like pop oriented song.
Well, I think that might be why he's lasted as long as he has. He found out very early on he was always ahead of a trend and always knew where things were going,
I he was creating them, I think.
and he was creating the vibes, right? And now the vast majority of entertainment, like the vast majority of entertainment now, is all vibes based. It's always what it is now.
Y- uh, Yes, because there's no like true cultural zeitgeist anymore. It is about what do you vibe with more than
A
anything.
1000%. I mean, I was just saying this to a friend of the show, Angelo, the other day. Was it is so easy in today's world, and by easy, you don't even know you're doing it half the time. But with entertainment algorithms, with streaming services, YouTube, anything like that, it is so easy to create your own echo chamber of what you like, even if you're someone who isn't trying to just hear things you want to hear. I'm not even talking about it from a news standpoint of I believe the right wing is right, so I'm going to go watch Fox News because they're the ones that are going to tell me my opinion's right, or vice versa. I'm going to go find MSNBC at its high
Yeah.
point as liberal and say, oh, MSNBC is always going to give me the straight skinny, and I know I'm going to be right and feel good about it. Entertainment now is so niche
Yeah.
that it's
I
you
would
can't
say
help but do it. It's so
it's
compartmentalized an echo
harder
chamber.
it's harder to not create an echo chamber nowadays
It's so much harder.
because there are not that many things that people actually connect on anymore. In terms of a larger sense, like, sure, your friends are probably into the same stuff as you,
Yeah.
but, like, it's not like everyone's going and watching Johnny Carson every day.
No. I mean, there's a reason why I think successful projects, not to get into spoilers, but as we're recording this episode for the future, Stranger Things just ended. One of the things that Stranger Things always did really well was play into those nostalgia nuggets they took pieces of the cultural zeitgeist of the time
Mhm.
and then made it into today's time and revived a lot of stuff because of how interested people were in it, just seeing in it from a nostalgia standpoint. Like Ghostbusters, I truly believe Ghostbusters does not get a reboot again and again and again unless they get the Stranger Things bump.
That's probably true.
And many things like that. And the other things like seeing kids adopt 80s properties from Stranger Things. And to be a part of the cultural zeitgeist, you almost have to rip it out of when it was a thing and make it your thing and just hope it works for you.
Yeah,
And I mean, we're going to be seeing that put to the test at the end of this year with Avengers Doomsday, where the 99% of what that movie has going for it is nostalgia. So we're going to see how
which is
effective.
why I'm negatively interested in that movie.
did
Couldn't
you
be less more
did you at least
less,
see did you at least see the teaser with your boy?
who
They did an X-Men teaser for it, and that shit was cool.
n no, but like I said, I would be more interested if it was a new cast of X-Men.
Oh, I know, but James Marsden actually gets to look like Cyclops and act like Cyclops, and I was like,
Okay, good for
and he's
him.
and he's actually in the blue and yellow with the fucking bandolier, and I'm like,
Oh, nice.
and there's a sentinel in the background walking, and he just unleashes the entire optic blast, and I'm like, fucking Cyclops, finally! Like
Yeah. How much of Labyrinth do you think is driven by nostalgia?
for the people who keep it alive, 1,000% of it.
Because it's very odd in the sense of it's extremely made for kids, but it's extremely not appropriate for them
No,
in some
God
ways.
no.
Because like
That's
a
why
lot of
80s.
the
That's why people love the 80s. That shit. When you look at it, Goonies doesn't fly as a kids movie today,
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but that was a kids movie at the time.
that's
Gremlins
why I
was a kids
respect.
movie at the time. When you watch Gremlins, that is not a kids movie by today's standards,
Yes, there's definitely parts. Yeah,
and that's
but
where I
because
just think that it works.
like I
That's
was thinking like a lot of the logic is only logic you'll find in a kids movie
yeah,
where like she like literally wishes her baby brother would not be around anymore.
yeah,
That's not going to happen in any kind of movie for adults
no,
because it's like extremely childish thinking.
yeah,
There's a lot of like that kind of logic in the movie. Then there's also parts where it's just like this is both creepy and inappropriate.
yeah.
It
Also,
doesn't.
I just need to talk about it immediately because it just struck me how many times again inappropriate for a kids movie, and one of the good things that would have been edited out of a kids movie. Bowie is in tights the entire time, and he constantly has a bulge, and you're like, what, bruh?
I see that part. I know that's that's a very popular thing to bring up. with this movie.
It's just like, come on.
In terms of it being for kids, I don't think that matters. Like, kids don't really care about that stuff. That's not what they're focusing on.
I know, but that is the one thing I would have been like, nah.
When you watch it as an adult, yeah, it's like
You're like, bro.
extremely noticeable.
It feels like it's another one of Chris O'Donnell tipping the sculptor of the bat suits and being like, "Yo, I need you to make this a bit bigger."
Actually, that would probably help as if he had like a Batman cod piece
Yeah,
kind of thing
yeah,
going on.
yeah. It would have helped a lot, but I think this movie has an odd undertone of sexualization that doesn't,
100%.
and I think it's well done for the most part because
Yeah,
it's just underlying on the surface. Like I will say, I just had the thought. This is, for no pun intended here, a wet dream for an English student to analyze. This is tailor made for, I'm going to do film analysis for a project on Labyrinth because I will have a ton of material to talk about and
yeah.
go into.
I was just looking up how old David Bowie was when they made this because I do think that's another weird part of it. So 1986, he's born in 1947. So he's
Just
just
under 40.
under 40. I do think that is a weird part as well. It's like it's a very clear adult with someone who's still a teenager.
So I thought I just have you seen the meme about Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island where the reason Christmas Carol works is because Michael Caine treats the Muppets
Yes.
as co-stars, and Treasure Island works because Tim Curry is a Muppet. like,
Oh, I have not seen that, but that makes a lot of sense.
like Bowie is kind of a Muppet. like,
Yeah, I he's both a Muppet and at times, but then also extremely not at other times.
it's it's whatever, but
But when I say I respect this movie more than I like it, like all the Jim Henson puppetry work is
beautiful.
like I would say this movie more than any of the other ones, like Dark Crystal or anything. I think this is the best work they've done.
Oh yeah,
If you're not counting Muppets, because to me, Muppets are like,
Muppets is its own thing.
yeah, Muppets is, peak puppetry.
Yeah,
Because I
I
just rewatched The Christmas Carol and it's so good.
I just watched about 5 minutes of the Christmas Carol a couple weeks ago, but that was about it.
I love that movie.
The thing is, I said this. Who was I talking? I was talking to. We went over to some friends Christmas night because Ab had to work Christmas Day. So Christmas night, we just kind of went over by some friends in town, and they were watching Muppet Christmas Carol when we got there with their kids, and we were just kind of sharing opinions on it. And I was like, I don't love the Muppets, but I love the Muppets from the standpoint of I always want the Muppets to exist. But I
Sure.
don't love the Muppets as someone who wants to propel them forward. I often I've gotten into discussions of just dream conversations or thought about it where properties I'd love to work on or things I would love to popularize again. The Muppets is nowhere near that list for me, but I
Mhm.
always love the Muppets as a concept and want them to exist. I want the Muppets to always be a part of the zeitgeist.
I think that's how a lot of people think of them nowadays.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot like we were just talking about it. Oh, the Hanna-Barbera stuff,
Yes.
where it's like a lot of people are aware of what it is, but they have 0 attachment to it.
And I
And it
have some attachment to it, but most of it is I want this to exist. I want this to be a
exactly,
thing.
yeah,
Scooby Doo is like the only one I'm really like, no, that's core memory stuff.
yeah, yeah.
But then I'm like, no, but Flintstones is great, and Jetsons is great, and Huckleberry Hound, and so Jabberjaw, and all this other bullshit. I'm like, I want it to exist. I want it to be a thing.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I'm like, okay, you know, like I'm not. It doesn't have the burning passion. And the thing is this: one thing I think really succeeds and why Labyrinth works better, or why Labyrinth stands the test of time as just a weird thing, and doesn't have the Muppet shine because none of the puppets look very Muppety, except for Sir Decimus. Uh, None of them look Muppet felty
Yeah.
look to
Well, the
them.
Muppets are much more kid friendly than these
Yes.
are. Because I mean, I gotta say, the first time I watched this movie, my favorite character, Ludo, easily. Watch it the second time, still Ludo. He's the best.
The best part is I literally was like, "This is Dylan's favorite character by far." I
Yeah.
know he is.
Yeah. He's just like a giant dog.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I love him so much.
It's certainly something in which I think that's why this movie stands up because it's just so fucking weird. It
Yeah.
and I will say the film progresses really well from a visual standpoint because at first you're kind of like, okay, like I loved the opening scenes. I was like, okay, weird theater girl. Like it's we just for those just listening, we just recorded the Silent Hill episode
Mhm.
literally right beforehand. Streaming audience would know this. This is what Labyrinth did really well at Silent Hill didn't. You
Yeah.
start out with your character, and you're just like, oh, she's some weird theater girl. Okay, well, what assumptions can we make about a weird theater girl? Probably a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah.
We could say that, you know.
Yeah, like, yeah, I said it on Silent Hill thing, like, rigidly structured with the hero's journey. It's
Eh,
just like Lord of the Rings, like, they do the same exact thing.
oh
You
yeah,
set up, you deal with Frodo, or even The Hobbit with Bilbo, like, you set up those characters, and then they first decline the journey, and then ultimately decide to go on it.
correct.
In this, it's a little bit different where he's kind of forced into it, even though technically she got what she wanted
Yeah,
in that moment.
it's. I think the other thing that works about this, because Dylan and I talked about this in pre-production, we don't even know what to say about Labyrinth half the time. It's is I think the reason it stands the test of time, why people will revisit it, is this is really a story about growing up, and it's this teenager that's it's I think it hits really well the idea of the teen going from a child to an adult teen. Like there's a difference between the 13-year-old teenager and the 19 or 18-year-old teenager. There's a vast difference where
Yeah,
and you're learning how to become an adult. And it's a spectrum. And on one end of the spectrum, it's like, hey, we expect more of you. And you're like, yeah, but I still want to fuck off with all my shit and have fun. And then the
mhm,
other side of the spectrum is we're like, hey, you're still young, still enjoy your life. You're like, yeah, but I'm ready for adult shit. I'm ready to go to the next step, the next move.
that's where I do think this movie does strike a good balance
Yeah.
of, like, I think it's perfect for, like, 11, 12, 13-year-olds because that's, like, a time when you're very creative still, you still have a lot of, childish imagination,
Yes.
but you're ready to see a little bit darker, grown-up stuff.
Yeah.
Because like, I think there's a lot of cool visuals, like, when she's falling down the thing and all that arms are, like, grabbing at her.
Yes.
Like, really cool, strong visuals there. I like that idea, and also, I gotta point out, that's probably the cheapest effect to ever do, and it still sticks with you.
And it's great. It looks
It's
awesome. It looks
yeah, it's
so good.
awesome. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff like that, and that's probably something that sticks with people because it is a darker moment.
I, I had this thought later on in the film where I just went, I think I get it. Which I don't know if this movie is truly to under to be understood or to get it, so to speak. But the way I interpret it was like, oh, this is a 12-year-old's dream. This is a 12 year
Yeah,
old who doesn't have the contextual. understanding to have a mature story, but they have mature themes that they want to explore. And and so you're like, well, how do they get out of this? You're like, I'm going to give a really childish solution to this, but it works because the vibe is there and it allows me to move forward in a way that is fun. But there's so much childlike imagination to it that it works. And I was like, this is a 12-year-old's class project. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And once you
Yeah, that's true.
embrace that, it's so
Like a
much fun.
creative writing assignment.
Yes, it's very much a what could you do? It brought me back to moments of my first creative writing that was praised, where I went, oh wow, like I took some liberties with some stuff and I just explored something I really wanted. Like the oddly enough, of all the creative writing I've done, I always go back to stuff I did very early on, even the later stuff that I know is probably higher quality writing. I go back to stuff that because the idea struck me, the chord struck me, and it made people react or feel a way. Whether it was someone editing the project, was it someone, you know, grading the project, or just sharing it in class, people being like, "Oh wow, oh like you did that, like that's so cool, like oh my god." It's those things that always I go back to, and I'm really proud of because you get the reaction you're looking for, and I see this throughout the film entirely. So you're just like, he's just singing, and rocks just show up and just decimate a town. Okay.
I was just gonna I was curious to see who wrote it because Jim Henson directed it,
Yeah.
and I was wondering if he wrote it, and he did. And I was actually gonna bring up something like this is the Muppets meet a Terry Gilliam movie to me,
Yes.
and now it makes a lot of sense because Terry Jones co-wrote it, and he worked on a lot of Monty Python stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now it makes a lot more sense in
Oh,
terms of,
it's
okay,
it's it's so Monty Python to the point where Ab sat down with 35, 40 minutes left in the movie, and she just went, "Oh, so this is just the Muppets meets Monty Python." I went, "Yeah, it's pretty much how it feels."
yeah, like a lot of it, like the 2 characters, like, one always tells the truth, one always lies.
Yeah,
That's very Monty Python.
super Monty Python, and obviously that goes back into deep, deep legend and lore as well. But that's something that's tailor made for comedy, where you can play around with
Yes.
it and have some fun with it and do the other thing. I'm just gonna go through some notes here. And one, I had no idea George Lucas or Lucasfilm was involved in this until I started watching it.
He wasn't he also involved with everything at Jim Henson Studios back then?
Maybe I don't.
I think he's also a big influence on, Dark Crystal.
Okay, I mean it makes sense, but it's
Yeah.
just like this was a classic triangle pairing that you get a lot every year. A project like this is announced where somebody hot goes with something tried and true, and then they mix it with something that is also working. And no, all three parts don't inherently make sense, but they make perfect sense in some ways. We're like, oh, we're gonna put the whole teams together to make something. Where I look at it a lot where Marvel did this from time to time, or I look at how they did Batman in '89, where they're like, all right, Tim Burton, he's gonna do Batman. Everyone's like, what? But then you put them together with Warner Brothers and the whole studio behind it. You're like, okay. And then you're like, well, what are we gonna do in a different way? We're gonna have Prince do the music, and you're like, what?
That's an odd choice, yeah.
But oddly,
Actually,
all of it
it
works together.
it's another person who I think would have worked in the Goblin King
Yes.
role. Is Prince.
Prince can fit in anything weird because Prince is just weird.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember the
true.
comments on Batman. They're like he visited the set one day when they were doing some music video kind of stuff, and Tim Burton's like, and he oddly just fit right there. Just it made perfect sense that he was there, and you're like, yeah, it's fucking
Yeah.
Prince.
He's a weird dude.
And Bowie is the exact same way, and why he works in this so much. But just some notes here that I really wanted to get. Uh, First,
Although if it was Prince, there's another problematic thing because he has that little pencil thin mustache. It would add a level of creep.
That's true. Um, Obviously, the puppets look great immediately. My second note after the George Lucas one was should make Dylan happy. A lot of early saxophone in the intro. So
80s, that's the time of the sax.
hey,
It's the best.
um, I love the little details. I love the mismatched eye contacts that Bowie has in for the Goblin King, and the whole Goblin King suit makes no sense, but makes perfect sense. I really appreciate it.
It
Uh,
it also looks kind of cheap at times,
yes,
but I don't mind that at all.
the color palette I think is tremendous for this movie.
I think a lot of this movie looks really great.
It looks great. Just one of my notes is literally super silly. God, this is silly. Like
Yeah.
I love that. I love the continual use of Bowie's face in the architecture and the sculpting throughout everything, where like it provides an idea of menace without him having to be there all the time. But there's so many scenes where there's a carving of his face into the rock structure of the labyrinth or the mountain that they're near or the rock formation. That's such a nice little touch to always visually and mentally put you in the space of the Goblin King is always a presence. We know he is problematic and we know he is here. I love that little stuff. That really brought a lot of fun there. I think the designs get more complex and interesting as the movie goes on. And it allows you to kind of, at first, you're just like, okay, weird goblins. They look great. Uh, Hoggle, weird dwarf guy. You're like, okay, the labyrinth is very simple. It's just a rock facing maze. The worm, whatever. But then we start getting into things like the weird Wizard of Oz helmeted, puppets that are attacking Ludo. You're like, okay, that's weird. And Ludo looks super weird and different, but it's an evolution of where we were. And then you get to stuff like Sir Decimus, where it's like, oh, he's a full on knight who's just a weird Muppet.
Yeah.
But we're just embracing that factor. And then you get to my favorite design, which is the junk caravan puppets. I think that looks so good. Those junk caravan puppets are awesome.
I think most people would say the standout is like the actual ending labyrinth with
Yes.
all the stairs. I really like all the visuals in this. I just don't care for the story that much.
This story is very basic. It's a coming of
Yeah.
age story. And I think it works because you have someone who you naturally want to root for in a Jennifer Connelly. You don't usually watch Jennifer Connelly and root against her.
Yeah.
You're always kind of like, there's just something about her that she's likable. There's just a
Mhm.
natural likability to this character to the point where one of my notes is she really sucks at first. Like she's so classically petulant teen
Yeah.
in all the worst ways, and in 10 minutes you're still like, I still want her to succeed. She's making the right choice and trying to figure it out. So I want her to succeed, and you give her the benefit of the doubt. It's one thing that this movie trusts its audience a lot to just be there and do it, and I think is really interesting.
That's another good comparison with Silent Hill. I think Silent Hill trusts their audience too much,
Yes.
whereas this one trusts it just enough to where, like, you still know what's happening, why stuff is
Right.
happening.
Well, and then they do smart little detail work that is important, where they establish this little crystal orb can make her forget, but it's a bauble that she would love to have.
Oh, those little crystal balls that David Bowie has,
Yeah,
that they get a lot of play in
a
this.
lot of play, a lot of play. But I love all the weird, machinations with them. And then I love the fact that we show he has these sorcerer like powers to transform it and then manipulate someone into doing it. I really enjoy those pieces. This is a movie that oddly, the more I think about it, the more I enjoy. Because at first run, I was just kind of like, okay, I have no idea what I watched, but it was fun. I enjoy it.
I would agree with that, except I don't actually respect the movie more. I just respect the craft and the filmmaking. Like,
Right.
this is one where I think I would enjoy the making of more than I would enjoy the movie.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
I think there's, like, an hour-long doc, that was released, I think because of the anniversary.
I would actually really like to check that out just because the production design is so good in this.
Yeah.
The second the movie changes in quality and tone for me when they hit the forest instead of just the straight rock labyrinth. And the production design explodes in quality because it already looked good, but it's very much like, okay, we're lulling you into what this is, and we get it, and then it's like, bam, forest. We're gonna start going real weird. Have some fun with
Mhm.
it. You're like, okay, cool, enjoyable. But it's a really really enjoyable piece of production. I love production design. It's one of the things I always like seeing the making of stuff now on any movie. I love seeing it because I love seeing the production design elements and what goes into developing not only the visuals but the thought process behind stuff and how is it going to all connect. And this movie is tailor made for that. I want to touch on something else though, quick plot wise.
Okay.
One of my notes is oddly the older man, young girl trope works well in the Goblin Masquerade because you're supposed to hate it.
Yeah. It just comes across as more creepy than anything.
Right.
I
But
don't
that's
know if
the
you're
at least it's the intention. You know what I'm saying?
I don't are you supposed to think of the Goblin King as a predator? That's the only question I have. 'Cause he's
You're
definitely, the villain and antagonist, but I don't know if they actually mean for it to come across
I
as
think they
creepy
mean
as it
I think
is.
especially with George Lucas being involved, the one thing George Lucas always really does well, whether he executes it well is a different story, but what he does well is his foundations of classic fables, legends, things of that
Yeah.
nature. And I think predator is a great use, and not in the normal terms that we would use it now with a person, but predator in the sense of a character representing a true animalistic predator of nature. And I
Mhm.
think that's the way the Goblin King comes off really well in those scenes is we can apply that second layer of logic where we're like, oh wow, older man, younger girl, and she's in a completely compromised state. That's fucked. But really, the whole time, it's this general antagonist. It's the wolf in sheep's clothing. Like, no, I'm so charming. I'm so this. I'm so that. But really, the wolf is underneath the entire time.
Yeah. And I do think there is a sense of, like, kind of wish fulfillment for teens where, like, they always think of themselves as older than they actually are,
Yes.
like, more mature than they actually are. So, in terms of that, it's very realistic.
Well, it's the reason why we can look at media or we can look at things and just like everybody knows that person that dated way too far out of their age range in
Mhm.
some capacity. And the natural reaction is, what are you doing? Like, there's just an ick factor to it. Doesn't
I
matter
don't
which way it goes.
I was gonna say, I don't really critique the younger person. I critique the older person because
I
there's
critique
still
the younger person when I know they're intelligent enough to realize, dude.
sure.
But yes, my far more of my criticism is on the older person to be like, what do you even?
Yeah, if there's a 28-year-old dating an 18-year-old, I'm always like, you know what you're doing.
Yes, it's
You're doing
predatory in
this
nature.
because they are not as, like, world weary.
Yeah, and I think that works from the sense of a plot of a movie where you're trying to get across. I think that's why the Goblin King comes off as evil. Because look at the Goblin King just by the actions of the Goblin King alone. He abducts a baby, which you're like, but you chose to give it away theoretically,
Mhm.
right? he's not all that nefarious. He's not all
No,
that
not really.
evil. He's dancing around with a bunch of fucking Muppets. How like
Yeah.
so you can say he's crazed. Like it gave me more. You've played at least a little bit of it. Did you ever get to do the Shivering Isles stuff in Oblivion with Shea Gorath?
No.
Okay, so again, this is Elder Scrolls lore for my video game fans, but Shea Gorath is the god of madness, the Daedric god of madness. Goblin King gave me a lot of Shea Gorath, where it's just like weird and mad crazy for the sake of weird, mad crazy.
Yeah.
And why I think that note works at the older man predatory nature of it is it immediately puts into the sinister side where everything that you see that seems more comical nefarious then gets this undertone of oh no there's some real shit there, there's some real evil stuff there, and allows even the hurting of Muppets to feel worse. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have this little kid. We shouldn't beat people up. It's like, hey, you're fucking people up. That's terrible. Like, what are you doing? And I
Yeah.
think that's why I really wanted to look at that. I also find it hilarious because I know our boy Angelo is going to the Goblin Masquerade with his lovely girlfriend, and I was invited to go as well. Like they're holding a 40th anniversary live um, Goblin Masquerade, at least in Milwaukee this weekend. So I was like, oh shit, I should.
Pretty cool.
I might. I was like, if I have a chance, I might go, but Ab's gone, so I might be flying solo. But whatever. Oh, we got a note that if we're talking horror movies, the Scream 7 TV spot just came out, so maybe we're gonna have to talk about Scream 7 eventually. Wait, when are we gonna cover Scream? Isn't Scream in an anniversary year? Isn't the first Scream 96?
96. Yeah.
Maybe we'll cover Scream.
I love the first one. Two's okay. Three sucks. Four's okay.
Yeah.
Five was pretty good, and the last one was really bad. That's
Ash,
why
Ash, thank you for taking care of that comment. But yes, to answer the comment, we do talk horror movies a lot here. We'll talk Scream in a future episode. Um,
I will say, like, because Scream 6 was so bad, I'm not really looking forward to 7,
yeah.
but I'll still give it a fair
Well, I
chance.
would say right here, Scream lacks all the craftsmanship of Labyrinth.
Uh, somewhat. There's more creativity. Well, I'd say they're about equal on creativity.
That's crazy. That's wild to think. I've never watched a full Scream movie. Actually, have I watched all of Scream 1? I may have.
Scream is a lot more like you need the context of where horror was at that point
Yeah.
to really appreciate it. But
A
yeah,
lot of
that's
the
a different
horror of
topic.
that genre was not for me. Like I've watched I Know What You Did Last Summer and it was kind of like whatever. I've watched
Mhm.
the majority of Scream and I was kind of like okay, cool, whatever. But they were innovative and doing they were innovative for their time, trying to do
Yeah.
something very different and unique. But going back to Labyrinth, there are so many silly moments. What's one of your favorite what are some of your favorite silly moments?
Anything with Ludo, because inherently that is like probably the most silly character.
Oh yeah.
'Cause
Sir Decimus is really silly.
I was gonna say anything with those two characters I really love. I don't really love
Hoggle.
who's the yeah, I don't really love anything with his character, but
He's
I
the
still don't.
most traditional Jim Henson Muppets
Yeah, for
kind
sure.
of archetype character.
Yes. Um, I do like that. I like the bog part. It's not really silly though.
I mean, the fight with Ludo and
Yeah.
Sir Decimus is silly as hell.
Yes. But in terms of like I think of silly as like fart jokes and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what the bog is. It's just a bunch of
Low,
fart
very
jokes.
lowbrow humor.
Yeah. It is interesting to see those kind of things. I just love like one of my the last note I have before my final note of I have no idea what I watched but I enjoyed it was the machine gun. The fuck? Like, why is there just randomly a machine gun in this movie?
You
Like,
could say that about a lot of movies.
but I love like the door golem is so cool, where the door comes together and the huge Mondo construction comes out to try to get them. I love that. That's such cool visuals and really enjoyable. And I just love a lot of that stuff here. And I think that's why we keep going back to why do people watch this movie? It's not for narratives, it, but the production is so imaginative. And and this movie, I think, inspires people by just by watching it to go, what could I do? I so many times during this movie, I said, that's an idea I'd like to explore. That's an idea I'd like to explore. Like, oh, that door golem. I really want to work on something like that. That'd be cool. So I think that's where I enjoy it a
Have
lot
you
more.
seen have you seen Dark Crystal and Willow?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I know of
Because
both of them, but
to me, this is like I Willow's definitely the best for me.
okay,
It's also the least. It's much more like I don't know if there are any Muppet characters,
sure,
but it's very much in that style. Um, Dark Crystal, I don't like at all.
okay,
So this I do appreciate more.
interesting, interesting way to
And you
think
could
about that.
throw a never-ending story in there too. They have elements of
With one of the most traumatic scenes of all time in it, yeah.
yes, yeah,
I've never seen
um,
it, but obviously I've seen that. And I'm like, that's fucked. Like, that's terrible.
yeah. It's scarring, honestly. But like Falcor is like pretty much a Muppet.
Yeah, but it's an interesting vibe nonetheless. And I think it's. Would you say this movie is worth a rewatch?
I don't know. I'd say if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. I don't know if I'd say it's worth a rewatch though.
I think mine would come down to usually as I usually split hairs, unfortunately. Definitively, if you just said buy a movie, is this worth a rewatch? I would say no. But I will say, as someone who is a creative, I will go rewatch stuff that I don't even like, but they have something that's really useful or successful with. I think I mentioned this on the show last year. There are times that I will watch Batman and Robin again. The movie's terrible, but the production design is such of a weird, interesting pop quality that I will go back and I'll just look at the production design and go like, "Oh, that's really cool. That's a cool element. Like that's something I'd like to put in a story. That's something I'd really like to explore." That if you're a creative type, I think Labyrinth is worth rewatching on a consistent basis to just be like,
Sure.
"What could I do?" and always get inspiring ideas from. That's where I would say Labyrinth is really interesting and worth a rewatch. But by a movie alone, no, it's not worth a rewatch.
Yeah, I was just looking up. This isn't a box office episode, but where this actually ended up.
I can't imagine it's in the top 10. 86
I
is a really good year.
I don't see it at all. 68th.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They made 12 million.
Well, I mean, run through some of the movies of 1986.
I will say Freddy's Revenge, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 made more than that. Not a good sign. That one sucks. Well, you got okay, so
Top
86
Gun is
you got
obviously
Top
the.
Gun, Crocodile Dundee, Karate Kid 2, Aliens, Color Purple, which is actually 85, but it came out in December.
Yeah.
Um, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Stand By Me. There's a lot of good movies
Yeah.
that year.
It's a great year for movies.
And Labyrinth came out in June, but it was a summer release.
I think they would have been better. I think Labyrinth is tailor made for now's version of January, February. Let's just throw some weird shit there and just hope to get an audience.
Yeah.
Or a March when nothing's coming out. Be like, let's just unopposed. Let's just put this thing in. Let's try to get some spring break numbers when there's no competition
Mhm.
and go from there. But it's a really interesting movie. I think it's a very fascinating. This is a cool thesis movie. Does that make sense? This is someone's thesis on creativity. This is someone's inner
Sure.
workings. That's another way I'd like to think of Labyrinth. It's like this is someone's like, I'm just gonna go balls to the wall with insanity, and it's my concept movie. You'd be like, okay, fuck it,
Yeah,
let's.
like I said, I respect it more than I like it.
Yeah, I can understand that. I might be on the same plane, but I did enjoy my time with Labyrinth. But I think that's going to do it for Labyrinth and for this show. So if you are a part of our streaming audience, that's going to probably end this stream. I might be back with some more Resident Evil 7 in a little bit, depending on how Dylan and I's conversation after this goes, which should be fine. But beyond that, that is going to be the end of the show. Go check us out Spotify and YouTube for all of our archives and all the other good shit that we've been going on. And check out our new movie reviews coming as well. And eventually Dylan will be in a review. We've talked about that. We might do Disclosure Day in IMAX one down the road.
Yeah, as a
Yeah,
cameo.
yeah, as a cameo. And with Lupin coming, that's always fun. He didn't even bark today. That's
No, he didn't.
what a rarity. He didn't even bark today, which is crazy. But that is going to do it here for the show. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening wherever you are. It is appreciated. Peace, love, and hugs to you all.
I
Goodbye.